Hey everyone, and welcome back to the third lecture in this chapter. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. So a nice way to write that is I usually write an A for the adenosine, and then I write three phosphates, triphosphate, okay? The nucleotide used in forming ATP is an adenine. When adenine and ribose combine, they form that adenosine, which is right here. And then you add three phosphates to it, and then you have that full ATP. ATP is a high energy molecule. The energy is carried in these bonds between the phosphates, and the bond between the second and third phosphate is very, very unstable and will be released. And when it gets released, it releases energy to other cells. Okay, so ATP is the most common energy currency that our cells use. So we break down glucose, which is our favorite food. And when I say that, I mean our cell's favorite food, to form ATP, which drives all of our metabolic reactions in general. So ATP has three phosphates, and the energy is stored in the chemical bonds of these phosphates. So when we break that third phosphate off, we release the energy, and then we have adenosine diphosphate. So we move from A, P, P, P to A, P. Oh, wow, that's not a P, is it? That's a B. I don't know where that came from. P plus a phosphate, okay? And this phosphate then is going to potentially bond to something and just stay there. So adenosine diphosphate is a low energy molecule. If we add that phosphate back, we produce another ATP. Okay. So what do we use ATP for? ATP is used for pretty much all of the different metabolic reactions. So it powers chemical work. So anabolic reactions, build-up reactions, where we require energy for that reaction to occur. So it's endergonic. Transport work. So we have a membrane here, and we have ions on this side, and we want to push those ions to this side so that we have equal amounts on both sides. That pushing of those ions is going to require a certain amount of energy. And then mechanical work, so physical movement. We have ciliated cells, we have flagellated cells. These require ATP to move. Muscle contractions for your body. Every time your muscle contracts, it releases it uses energy and releases heat as a byproduct. So we're constantly increasing entropy in our body, and our muscles are contracting all the time. Breathing uses muscle contractions. Heartbeat uses muscle contractions. Digestion uses muscle contractions. So we're constantly using muscles for mechanical work. And so this is an example of each of those. So down here we have the chemical work, which we talked about first. In this case, the reactants here are X with a P and a Y. And we're going to have an exchange reaction occur where X and P came to the party and Y came alone, and Y and X leave the party and P is released alone. So this is a reaction in which we're going to require ATP to allow for that exchange. And then in transport work, we're moving molecules, in this case, from a lower concentration to a higher concentration, moving them into the cell. And so in this case, it's going to take energy, a lot more energy, because we're pushing them against their concentration gradient. And then here we have mechanical work where we're actually moving molecules along a protein. And so what this is actually showing is muscle contraction. M-U-S-C-L-E. So these are actin molecules, and this is myosin. All three of these utilize ATP energy, and a byproduct of the reaction is adenosine diphosphate with that extra phosphate. So these reactions that require ATP are typically considered coupled reactions. So ATP breakdown is coupled typically with a reaction such as an exergonic reaction, which releases ATP energy, ATP, right? And that ATP then can drive an endergonic reaction, which requires ATP. So in a coupled reaction, one reaction drives another reaction. So exergonic reactions drive endergonic reactions. I don't know why I did that. Another way to say it would be catabolic reactions. So breaking something down drives anabolic reactions. And the release of ATP drives a reaction towards the product side. Okay, so this is a coupled reaction. I'm going to stop here and we'll get into metabolic pathways in our next video. Bye.